What is going on, guys? Good afternoon. It's your favorite mortgage lender, Del Kwame. I hope everybody had a blessed holiday weekend. We're actually coming at us live on a Tuesday, right? With the holiday, took a little bit of a break, decided to kind of just spend some time with the family, go over a couple of different things, really preparing for what is set to be a crazy end of month. We're going to go over so much different items in regards to what happened in the market last week. What's the expectations this week? We're going to see where interest rates have been over the last year or so and truly take it from there. Okay. So, starting off again, as we always do, recapping last week, we saw a lot of different changes. This was the market updates that we saw around 2 weeks ago. Bringing this up again, I wanted to see, remember, we're concentrating on main things with the CPI report and the PPE report, right? And super important for us to remember that a lot of different changes that started to occur on the market really started to transpire just a little bit from after the inflation report started coming in. We started seeing a lot of different fluctuations when we took a look at what's the differences when it came to interest rates, what's happens with inflation, what happened with that, right? So bringing this from back then, we saw that CPI dropped to 2.9%, core dropped to 3.2%. Then we also saw again home builder sentiment start to change, and then again new construction with an increase of 13.8% on the year. Okay. Now, what I want to kind of cover with us today is what is the expectations as we are starting to go down heavier in reference to the market. So again, consumer inflation once again showed signs of moderation. Okay, so we saw less than 2 weeks ago, right? CPI report came in low, consumer price index, and then we also saw producer price index with wholesale inflation came in low. Now we're starting to see that consumer inflation is to continue to moderate as well. Home prices once again hit an all-time high with Case-Shiller and the FHFA, kind of showing again the value of home ownership and building that generational wealth. Pending home sales softened and so on and so forth. But again, PCE report. So I shared earlier when we started off talking about the CPI report and the PPI report showing signs of slowing down. We also saw signs of slowing down with the PCE report. Personal consumption expenditure report once again came in showing signs of weakening, showing signs of slowing down on inflation. Thereafter, essentially asserting once again that the Federal Reserve is truly indeed going to more than likely pause, or I should say more than likely cut and no longer pause as we have been over the last 5 meetings, right? And you'll see it here again, PCE report continue on that really significant pause downward trend. And then we once again saw home prices. Case-Shiller, which is the gold standard, when we talk about home appreciation, jumped up 0.2%, really showing almost signs of just close to basically 5.5%, close to 6% in terms of home values continuing to jump up in value. FHFA also saw a little over 5% of 5.1%, and the FHFA does not include cash buyers and jumbo loans. Once again, you're seeing that uptick of almost 5.4% year over year, which is pretty crazy to say, right? After we've seen such huge appreciation levels at the same time. Pending home sales. So again, pending home sales, we saw a little bit of a downtick in regards to that, which again is really lagged. So remember, these numbers are really based off of 2 months ago when rates were still a little sticky around the summertime, showed a little bit of signs of weakening in regards to that. We will again see, in my opinion, a lot of changes in reference to the numbers. So that will definitely see a little fluctuation when we see the pending home sales. Now, other stuff that I want us to concentrate on also, so we always talk about inflation and we always talk about employment. Another thing that we're keeping an eye on for, right? The Fed has that mandate with the two, but also creating a stable economy, right? And when we talk about creating that stable economy, we monitor that off of the GDP report, the gross domestic product. It is good news. You're right, Bill Trusty. The gross domestic product is something that we want to make sure the economy, how it's growing, what's the level of percentage of upticks in regards to increases. The economy grew 3% in the second quarter, again, according to the GDP report, which was slightly higher than what it was before. Again, the activity is a little better than it was last quarter, but we're still seeing increases of consumer spending, which we know a lot of people spending more money. And then we saw a little bit of private inventory again in business investment as well. Jobless claims. So we keep talking about the same stuff with inflation and employment. Jobless claims again dropped, fell slightly in the latest week to 231,000 people who were filing for unemployment benefits. Continuing jobless claims once again is rising by 13,000 with 1.86% people who are having a hard time finding a job thereafter. Then this week, again, we're going to get updates on the employment data. Okay. So when we talk about the employment data week, we're going to get tomorrow. Job opening and labor turnovers. We will get updates in regards to the ADP report, private payroll, and then we will get in regards to additional updates on Friday with the BLS report, which, let's be honest, does it hold too much weight as it usually was in the past? I don't really think so. 818,000 jobs that were basically created that were truly just fictitious in nature, and they kind of basically took that back, right? We'll get some updates again also on home appreciation from CoreLogic and ICE. So I'll kind of take that in way. But I wanted to kind of share with us also, look at where interest rates are kind of sitting at right now. We're at roughly anywhere from that 6.4%, really hovering around September. But you're kind of seeing that changes in regards to that drop, right? Where interest rates are, where they have been, right? Kind of really closer to the start of the year. Took a little bit of that bumpy transition, and we have been truly at that consistent downward trend since really we've been getting that updates on the inflation. So truly since around June, we've been seeing that little bit of a downtick from almost as high as 7.5% to dropping to that 6.4%. Again, what does this create? This creates a lot of big affordability changes for clients. And we do a lot of heavy analysis with our clients as to the cost of waiting and also just truly what the benefits are when they're starting to look at these things. So very important items that we're starting to make sure that we stay on top of with our clients when they are truly seeing what the different fluctuations are when they're looking at home values and they're looking at affordability truly and what makes the best case scenario for them to qualify. A lot of different things that I want us to make sure that our clients stay on top of. And I shared this graph previously with us, and I'll share it with us again, where we necessarily talk about just what the cost of waiting is. Here's actually an example, and I'm going to pull it up for us. An example of a past client that we have. We kind of see where their value of cost of waiting was, right? You kind of saw if they waited right now, and this is being ridiculously conservative, in a year at 3.5, we saw it's 5%, and in New Jersey, it's really close to 11%. But you kind of see those changes where the client lose that appreciation of 4%, almost 15, 16,000, minus what they're shaving off on their balances as well. We also see those changes in regards to 7% and 11%. As interest rates start to tick down, again, this is generally based off of that conventional buyer, you're seeing that affordability also start to open up as well, right? 7.125%, same monthly payment more or less at a 375 purchase price. If we kind of take those changes also, we'll see that they jump up to closer to 6.5%, okay? So that affordability concern kind of also becomes a factor for many of our clients when we're starting to see a little bit of those changes start to come into play. And then really one common question we always say, if a client makes that extra payment just once every single year, they shave off anywhere from 6 to 7 years, they only make an extra $200 payment additional towards their principal. They would have actually obviously shaved off close to 5.5 years with savings of $111,000 in interest and $141,000 in an increase in their net worth. Okay, a lot of different statistical analysis I won't dive into much, but we'll be sending over real estate report cards to our clients, appreciation levels as to where they jump up almost $102,000 of appreciation and $241,000 that they will gain when they're starting to obviously see the rent versus buying comparison. Okay, so a lot of important stuff that we want to make sure that we're concentrating on as interest rates start to trickle down, really mainly on the appreciation levels, what the changes in regards to the market is starting to place on homes. It's a double-edged sword, right? Inventory starts to go down. That also creates that higher competition level that we want to make sure that our clients are educated on, or you're taking into consideration, right? So many people who bought a home within the last few years want to make sure that they have the necessary tools that they will put all the data in front of them. It's statistical, it's informational. You can see it with graphs and a lot of different information. So if you're a consumer out there who's thinking about buying a house or just truly just want to get some updates in regards to your numbers, whether it's a refinance or whether it's truly purchasing an investment property, take those things into consideration. I guarantee it will make things a lot easier and clearer for you to understand. I appreciate you guys jumping on. As always, remember this will be thrown on Spotify, YouTube, and at the same time on our website. Make sure you guys tune in to some of the past recordings as well with some guests, and we'll take it from there. Talk to you guys soon.